Town bounce back from the Wrexham debacle with victory at Watford. Can they now sustain their 2 points per game February form as they return home to Portman Road? Join us to preview Ipswich v Swansea here on Blue Monday at Ipswich Town podcast. Welcome to the Prematch show. We're here to talk about Ed Sheeran's Ipswich versus Snoop Dogg's Swansea, and I probably the most telling thing that I can say, Seb, has been written for me in the chat by our mate Streaky. A match at Portman Road. Where's that then? It's been a long time coming, but we're finally heading back to Portman Road. You'll be there as well. Excited for home comforts again?
Yeah, very much so. Like London buses, you wait for a home game and then three come along at once with Hull in midweek and Leicester next weekend. So yeah, the horrible February is over. One game shorter, obviously, because of the Portsmouth rain called off debacle again. So really glad to be back to Portman Road, and now it's a chance for us, isn't it, to put some real pressure on those top two, and hopefully we've been playing catch up, it feels like, for weeks, doesn't it? But hopefully now we can put a bit of pressure on them, and hopefully hopefully Borough will continue their wobble.
Yes, we will recap the week's action shortly. Let's say hello to folk. Philip's here. First off, we'll see you at the Greyhound, seemingly. Our favourite pre-match venue still, even though they're not pre-match sponsors. Shout out to Outwells and One Stop Badges there. Good day to Michael. Brisbane, 22 degrees. It was quite nice and temperate on Tuesday or Wednesday, was it? And back to being miserable and not so cold, but miserable. But 22 degrees it is not, Michael. Great to see you. Great to see you, Nigel, as well. Neil, do you want to shout out Neil, Seb? Because we've given him a little bit of stick, all in good-natured fun, but he was there to witness the game, the victory on Tuesday night, and we are delighted for him.
Very much so. The away curse has been broken. I'll admit, when I saw that Neil was attending the Watford game, I did sort of wince a little bit and think, oh no, given his recent history. But fair play, the curse is broken. You'll now have to go to every away game. That's how superstition in football works.
Hello to Paul. He'll be missing out on the return home. But Ian, looking forward to going this Saturday live in Hull. Live in Hull. Need the office bragging rights. We feel your pain. Yeah. So, Seb, obviously, how was last week for you? The FA Cup didn't really care, but then to not bounce back, the complete opposite, to double down. Was it a tough week for you in Wales?
It was all right. There's only one real Wrexham fan in the office, and I outrank him quite significantly.
He might be
every time he piped up, I said I was just going to fire him. So it worked.
Nice, good. Well. Power not going to your head. Good stuff. No. Rob is with us. Nice to see Nick here, sat in a bar in Manchester Hotel. Hopefully sipping on gin and juice, as Snoop Dogg was. No more of those, don't worry. Shane's here, Max is here. Thunderstorms, humid, 30 degrees in Bendigo today. Lewis, good evening, Town fans. Loving that. Amanda's here, Lynn is here, Mike is here, Jeremy's here. Lovely. Good to see everyone. Shall we go through? Let's try and recall back the midweek action. We watched the game Tuesday night and then you reacted, so I can commend you back to Craig and Seb's thoughts on Watford. And then we watched bits and pieces of Sheffield United Coventry, hoping for the Sheffield United that turned up and roughhoused us. And Coventry, I think I described it to you as had shades of Ipswich 23-24 about them, didn't they?
They're just finding ways to win at this stage, aren't they? I mean, Sheffield United, I thought they were really up for it. They started well. So many blocks, so many defensive blocks from Coventry. Sheffield United should have gone in probably a couple of goals ahead at halftime. They didn't. They finally get the breakthrough shortly after halftime. You're thinking, right, here we go. And then, yeah, Coventry did what we did 2 years ago. They not only get themselves back in the game, they then find a way where they perhaps should have definitely lost to turn it into 3 points. And it feels like a big win, that. And yeah, it might be now. I mean, it's flip reversed. Obviously, Coventry were gone. Let's be fair. We discussed catching Borough only, and then it flipped reverse for a while. Like Borough would break away, and now Coventry again have kind of surpassed them at the top of the table. So we'll have to wait and see. Plenty more twists and turns, but that does feel like a big result. Obviously, Borough went a couple of weeks ago to Bramall Lane and won under the lights as well. So a couple of big performances. Thanks, Sheffield United. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah. I was going to swear early doors. We're not even 5 minutes in. I'll keep my thoughts to myself on Chris Wilder's Sheffield United. Did not enjoy my trip to Bramall Line a few weeks ago. I'm hoping for better for Hillsborough. I need to shout out Clive. 3 games to go before I have to go back to Canada. 9 points, please, if we want to go up in the top 2. There was someone else talking about 9-point weeks. It's very much Joe Fair's type chat. However, Seb, we are in catch-up mode, and Clive isn't wrong, is he? As much as we've been quite critical, and I guess whether we'll keep our thoughts on the fickle up and down nature of defeats to Wrexham. 2-goal defeat, by the way, not like I know shipping 5 is not great, but and then beat Watford and suddenly everything is all rosy again. The Derby win, everything was all rosy again. We do need a little bit more consistency. However, if we are serious, to Clive's point, it is important to you want at least unbeaten 7 points at least, probably, isn't it?
I want 7 at least. I want 9. I think the first 2 games are going to suit us. We'll discuss Swansea shortly. Obviously, Hull coming to Portman Road, they're a attacking side, so I think those 2 will suit us. I don't know how much of Rowett Ball has been installed yet at Leicester, so I'll look into that for next week's show. But these 3 home games, I'm really glad we're ticking off one of the games in hand, because it feels like we've had 2 forever. Obviously, there's no news on the Portsmouth rearrangement yet, so I hate the fact you've got to play catch up at some point. I know a lot of people just add 6 points onto the points tally. Not how it works. I've, in my mind, added on 4, because we're roughly at kind of 2 points per game. So that would leave us a couple of points still behind Middlesbrough going into the April showdown. So really glad to tick off one of those in midweek. And yeah, I just think we've done a lot of hard work with these 6 points from the 3 away games at Derby, Wrexham and Watford. So if we could follow that up with 3 back-to-back home wins, obviously, and then you've got, Sheffield Wednesday on the horizon, Stoke on the horizon, Millwall before the international break. There's a real chance there to hopefully pick up a few more points. And if you could go into the international kind of window, having won quick maths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 7 games, maybe we'd be in a hell of a place for the kind of final push coming into April. So yeah, big week coming up. It might be a week we look back at the end of the season and think, that Watford game was a little bit of a turning point. Maybe the Wrexham game will be the turning point rather, and we really hit the afterburners like we've seen them do a couple of seasons in the past.
It'd be nice to repeat that, wouldn't it? The rocket ship off on its merry way. Jack is wearing the same hoodie as me. I feel like I need to get checked. Well, I don't know if that I should take that personally. Oh, we can wear the same hoodies. Different hoodies are available, but good taste, Jack. That's the way to think about it. Good taste. Anything else before we get into the nuts and bolts of Swansea? ITFC I got it wrong last week. It was FA Cup week last week. It's internationals this week, and then still I don't think there's a game next weekend either. So it is the 15th. I think it is the 15th before they're in action again. And just want to shout out again the game at Portman Road against Southampton on the 28th too. That's an international break for the men, so please get down to Portman Road and support the girls in hopefully continuing their unbeaten run in the league this calendar year. So good stuff there. So Swansea, Seb, I don't know. I as always, you're the OG when it comes to research. I would say inconsistent throughout. Managerial change as a consequence probably of a lot of things, but it has culminated with the 4-1 defeat to us back in November, yeah. Vitor Maros, is it? I'm trying to get the name right. Matos comes in. I think they go on a great run, but still a little bit of a seesaw-y type form guide for them, isn't it? What's your summary for those who aren't following Swansea as closely as Swansea fans?
Absolutely toothless for the first third of the season, as you say, culminating in that 4-1 defeat. The locals were very unhappy. I think you and me sat there on the Thursday night suggesting that we thought he might get a little bit more time. Plenty of ups and downs under Alan Sheehan, kind of took over the back end of last season, did really well, gets the job permanently, but they were awful. I mean, they weren't just not creating anything. The stats, the XG was big chances, XG, all that kind of stuff was rock bottom. So they were really struggling, have made a change. And it would appear to me that Vitor Matos has kind of prioritized A, goal scoring, because that's what they were really struggling with, and B, the home form. The home form has been absolutely excellent, but the suffering Swansea fans will say the away form has just been crap, absolute crap. So yes, when Matos took over, they were right down the bottom of the league and really struggling. And a lot of people have kind of seen they've gone on a bit of a tear up, and they're now well clear of the relegation spots. A bit of talk, kind of in the same bracket as Norwich, Sheffield United. Is there a chance they could put on a late run for the playoffs? Not for me. There's too much traffic in front of them. But the home form has become absolutely excellent. And it's that what has got them firing up the league. Currently find themselves 15th with 46 points. They are 8 points off 6th place, 12 points above the drop zone now, so no real relegation fears. They've done a really good job to pull clear of that. Played 34, won 13, drawn 7. Don't draw many games. They are the third fewest draws in the league. Lost 14, scored 40 goals, conceded 40 goals, goal difference of 0. Come into it, 3 wins in the last 5, Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday and Watford. A draw last time out against Preston in midweek, which we'll discuss shortly, and a defeat to Derby. But their away form is rubbish. It's the third bottom in the away table, only 14 points from 16 games on the road this season, 0.88 points per game. They've won 4 of the 16 games on the road, drawn 2 and lost 10. Only scored 14 goals away from home. They're the second lowest scorers away from home in the division. The last 5, they've won a couple. So as I mentioned, they've won 4 away from home, 2 in the last 5, Watford and Oxford, 3 defeats, Derby, Hull and Millwall. And it's, Alan Sheehan, obviously, like we said, the first third of the season, the signs were there. It was really, really trending downwards in terms of performance. Not a real surprise. He gets the bullet. And then Vita Matos has fixed 2 things. Their XG, hello XG fans, has gone from 0.6 under Sheehan to 1.8 per game under Matos. So creating a lot more quality chances and taking those chances. But it's the home form. Under Matos, 23 points from the 10 games they've had at home, 2.3 points per game. The away form, however, 6 points from 8 games. It's very clear he's prioritised goal scoring and the home form to get them clear of the relegation zone. I don't think they'll trouble the playoffs. I guess they've now got, 12 games, whatever's left, to try and build for this season and look to go again next year. Because they were dark horses in the summer, don't forget. The new investment from the likes of Luka Modric and Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg, obviously you've referenced a couple of times. A bit of money was ploughed into the club and they did a kind of semi-smart recruitment, and they were a couple of people's dark horses for kind of finishing 6th or so. That won't happen this year, but there's no reason if they can invest wisely and Matos can tweak the away form and get it more in line with the home form, they could trouble the top 6 next season, I would suggest. Yeah,
recruitment was fairly good. Some good loan recruitment, if I remember rightly, some good off-field recruitment, good building of infrastructure behind the scenes. I don't know how much of that was built around Alan Sheehan as opposed to being, consistent regardless who's in the dugout. So we need to give them respect, but we need to acknowledge the form guide. The chat said, typical Ipswich fans. I've got 2 comments. I won't name you. You can see yourselves both already dreading Saturday off the back of your talk about their away form. You have discussed the home form being pretty decent. Having watched the highlights and only the highlights of the Preston game, I thought they were a bit lucky. They ended up getting a draw, needed a late goal. I mean, they piled on the pressure in the second half to get there, but Preston could have been out of sight by about 60 minutes, maybe even half time if they'd been a bit more lethal in front of goal. So I guess a point, probably a fair outcome in the end, but talk us through it, because it might be that the stats tell a different picture to what I saw.
1-1 draw at home to Preston on Tuesday night. It was a 95th minute equaliser by Liam Cullen. It's a header from a deep cross in from the left. It was very much kind of a game of 2 halves, I would suggest. Daniel Jebison, him of running the channels at Portman Road and giving Cedric Kipre a bit of a torrid time. He put Preston 1-0 up from close range in the first half. They had further chances. Defending was crap. Yeah, defending
6s and 7s. I mean, the keeper we'll talk about later. But I didn't feel like they dealt with that situation particularly well. And then Jebison, instinctive, got good strikers now to be sussing out the danger, but lots of opportunities to prevent that situation. And the keeper, as I say, Vigoro, a little bit all over the shop, but comes back later on and is a bit of a hero, isn't he? But sorry, I interrupted you.
It's all right. They make a triple change at half-time and they push Ethan Galbraith, the player that I think we both like. He's a central midfielder by trade, has been playing right back in this game. He got shunted into midfield. So a slight tactical tweak and a triple change, and they were much stronger in the second half. To me, they just looked like big threats from set pieces. Ben Cabango, centre-half, missed a couple. I think Burgess might have missed one as well. It's a very late equaliser, as I've discussed. There was a big save. You just kind of hinted at it from Lawrence Vigoro right towards the end from Osmajic to keep it at 1-0. Has that gone to 2-0? It's probably going to be game over given the time left in the match. But they stayed dug in. They got themselves a point in front of Snoop Dogg, all waving the scarves around their head as he's walking around the pitch. 62% possession for Swansea. People that remember Brendan Rodgers, Roberto Martinez, it's a very possession-heavy kind of side. side. 1.55 XG to Preston's 1.9. Some of those headers from set pieces were really close range, so I would suggest that's probably boosted the Swansea XG a little bit. 12 shots, only 2 on target, but 3 big chances created. I think Preston should have had that done by the hour, like you suggested, and Swansea can count themselves lucky to walk away with a point there.
And there's a few people who are now worried, and I was going to say glass half empties. A few mood hoovers in the live chat. I love you guys. I'm really joking. The threat from set pieces and height, we were bemoaning our inability, even against Watford, to stop crosses. Wrexham certainly found a way through us as well. So if you're looking for me to try and find some things to worry about, guys, I would say the threat, the headed threat, is something that we should be definitely concerned about and need to defend better. So Vopotnik's definitely a beast. We'll talk about him. We all know about Cam Burgess, admittedly having a bit of an up and down time there, but there's the threat. Cabango could have scored a couple too. Vitor Matos, I need to, apologies, got the name wrong. I'm probably merging it in with the fact that he came from Maritimo, didn't he? So I kind of merged the two things together. So apologies there. Isn't a name that's particularly familiar to me. So can you give us the profile?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people could say, who am I? What's my name? When he kind of took over in charge, he was appointed in the aftermath of firing Alan Sheehan. 37 years old. He's best known in this country as being part of Jurgen Klopp's kind of set up at Liverpool. I think he took over as elite academy coach. Then he's involved in the first team during the COVID season. Liverpool win the first time they won the league, not the most recent one, obviously. Since taking over, it's playoff form. He's managed 18 games. He's won 9, only drawn 2. As I've mentioned, they do not draw many games. Lost 7, 1.61 points per game, which gets you 74 across a season, which is a playoff position. So he's done really well. He loses the first couple of games since taking charge, and they go on a run of, I think it's 5 wins in 7. And yeah, they've just kind of shot themselves out of danger. As you mentioned, he was at Maritimo. They triggered about €1 million, I think it was, release clause. His record there was okay. Managed 12, won 6, drawn 2. Lost 4. He left Liverpool, obviously, when Pep Lijnders and Klopp and everyone departed. He went with Lijnders to Red Bull Salzburg to become one of the coaching staff there, but Pep Lijnders lost his job there and he was dispensed with as well. No playing career to speak of. Apparently, he decided he wanted to be a coach at 21, has become one of these Kieran McKenna mold of players, where they retire relatively early, spend years learning their trade. He's coached in Portugal, China, England, Austria. So he's gone out and kind of done the hard yards. And yeah, he's doing well. It's a beautiful appointment. And Alan Sheehan was popular last season, but Vitor Matos is on the hot chair and they're on to the next episode.
Nicely done, Seb. Nicely done. Let's get on to the history against us. Let's start with a bit of both. You're going to do it this week. I'm going to hide the chat.
Yes, so normal rules apply. 5 questions, 5 clues, getting progressively easier. Are you going to go for your hole in one?
I'll go for a hole in naught of Jason Scotland.
No, you gave the exact same answer. I had to watch back to see who I gave you back in November because I wasn't sure, and you gave the exact same one then, so bad luck. Right, joined Ipswich in the summer of 2017, making 35 appearances, scoring 7 goals.
Oh, man. Oh, no. 2017.
I reckon Neil gets this instantly. Don't look at the chat.
I've muted the chat. So he's there for a season then?
Yeah.
Bollocks. Why do I not know this?
Joined Swansea in the summer of 2018, where he stays for 2 years, making 73 appearances, scoring 7 goals.
People are going to be listening on their podcast apps and going, you muppet, how do you not know this? No.
You'll get it now.
Keep thinking about it.
Clue 3. Rejoined Ipswich in the summer of 2021, making 32 appearances, scoring 6 goals.
I'm still not getting it.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying. I can't. Swansea to Ipswich direct moves doesn't. I can't.
Who said it was a direct move?
Oh, there you go. That's the trouble.
The chat's got it, so don't look at the chat.
No.
Right, I'll do a quote for clue number 4, and I think you'll get it instantly. This was in response to scoring a late winner away at Burton. I don't give a shite about that, by the way. He didn't go on because of that. Let me just clear that up. In fact, there's more chance of him not going on when they start telling me what to do.
Selena, and yeah. I don't think I've told this story on the podcast. If I have, then it's a long time ago. I started that chant. But
so Mick McCarthy is directing his anger directly at you.
Shall we pick the team for you was started by me in the away end.
Okay.
And anyone who claims they did it is wrong. I did it.
Okay.
It took me 2 goes, but I did it. And I'm proud of it. And that's probably pissed on our chips of ever getting Mick McCarthy on the podcast. It won't be me.
Well, you just can't host. It
won't be me interviewing him.
But Mikey or Craig on it.
But we were right. He came in and made a massive difference. So, Selena, one of those players that I've kind of forgotten about, if that makes sense. Like, because everyone was hyping him and stuff like that. And then that kind of permanent move back died on its arse. They've kind of put him to, and he was
a loan back, don't forget. We had him on loan from Man City. Swansea buy him from Man City. Then he goes abroad, and then we took him on loan. And lots of rumours we would sign him in the window where we got Ladapo and Don Ball, but we'd never
who do we need to congratulate in the chat apart from every bloody person apart from me? Neil, Rich, come on. We had Garner though, so I thank you. It was just an old boy for making me feel better. Trevor gets it, Rob gets it, Chris 7881 gets it, Santi. Neil's given me the first name as well, so there you go. So anyway, it did give me an opportunity to drop my story in. And in terms of Swansea, Seb, I have not, apart from the recent past under McKenna, I don't have any fond recollections of Swansea, home or away, but certainly at home. I remember a 4-0 live on Sky Saturday lunchtime. I think when we had Andros Townsend, Jake Livermore on loan, I think they pumped us at home live on the telly. But am I reading too much into the record? Is it not as bad as we think?
Well, we edged the record, but it's very, very close. Not played a great deal of games. There's a load in the kind of 50s and 60s, a couple in the 80s, then nothing till an FA Cup tie in 2007, and then kind of a few years in the Championship. 13 wins for Town, 9 draws between the two, 12 wins for Swansea. We've already mentioned earlier in the season the 4-1 victory back in November at the Liberty Stadium, or Swansea.com, whatever it's called now. Jack Clark from range, 2 own goals from poor old Cameron Burgess, who had to pen an Instagram letter of apology afterwards to the Swansea fans. And even Azon got his first goal close range as a header right towards the end of the game. There's a big save from Walton in that. I think at 2-1, they equalised after half time, and then we kind of stepped on the afterburners. But Walton made a big save in that game that could have been a bit of a turning point. Last time, you mentioned it, the one we remember fondly, the 3-2 victory in November 2023. I think it was the first of the Jack Taylor kind of Thunder Bastards from range. This is probably the furthest one. I think he did it to Wolves as well in the Cup. Maybe that was before this. But a Taylor long ranger. We went 1-0 down, as we tended to do in that season. Liam Cullen, the goal scorer from Tuesday night, put them ahead early on. Taylor equalises. Chaplin and Hurst make it 3-1. And then right towards the end, Jamal Lowe pulls one back in added time to make it 3-2. That was that phase where the Portman Road games were pretty much all 3-2, 4-3, 4-2s, and the away games were all 1-0s. We were kind of just outscoring teams at Portman Road and being more disciplined on the road. But as you say, apart from that, it's not necessarily a side that we have that many fond memories of. I think the Townsend game you're referring to, I think that was 3-1, I want to say. And a blatant penalty turned down by Durst. Things you remember 15 years later or whatever. I remember that one. There was a 1-0 defeat just after relegation was confirmed in April 2019. I think we got smashed 4-0 away at Preston on the Good Friday. We were there. And then on the Easter Monday, I think we lost 1-0 at home. FA Cup tie referred to was a 1-0 victory in 2007. But yeah, it's not a side where we've got overly happy memories, I would suggest, apart from the last time, which was a bit of a rip roll one.
And to kind of prove that point mischievously, and because I want to properly, I want to give something for the chat, Seb. I'm going to take you back to November 1982. Bobby Robson has moved on. It's Bobby Ferguson in the dugout. But apart from a David Barnes, who made his debut, this is a Hall of Fame lineup still for Ipswich in the 70s and 80s, more the 80s. So you should be able to get these. I might need to prompt you in certain directions, but if you think of a big player under Robson, they featured in this 3-1 victory against Swansea back in November 82. So I suggest you hide the live chat. This is for Neil, I think, has mentioned the game 82. I think, Neil, this is right up your strasse. I hope you got David Barnes without me needing to prompt it, because the rest of them are absolute slam dunkers.
Well, to just lay the groundwork for this horror show that's about to happen, I wasn't born, so I will do my best. So I will assume Cooper in goal.
Correct.
Mick Mills?
No.
Beattie?
No.
John Walk.
Yep.
Russell Osman.
Yep.
Eric Gates.
Yes, nice. That's the one I was a bit worried about for you.
Mariner.
Yep.
Brazil.
Yep. Nice.
Burley.
Yep.
Okay. Tyson and Murin.
Only one of them. Tyson. Yep.
Okay. What do I need then? I've got the keeper.
So
I've got the
missing. I think. Did you? So one of them is an unsung hero of the UEFA Cup winning team. Came back as a coach under Joe Royle.
Under Joe Royle.
Yeah, Joe. I think maybe Burley as well. Steve McCall.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I think you're missing. I was going to say as a clue, they're on one of the I was going to say fellow Ipswich Town podcast as a duo. You've got one of them. You need the other one.
Oh, Terry Butcher.
There you go. I think you got the full house.
Not too bad. Then.
Yeah, I was impressed with the Eric Gates. That was a good one to get. Yeah, see, not as difficult as you thought. It's a bit of a.
You decided to blow through the nothing post 2000, nothing pre 2000 rule for the lineup.
I just thought I'd illustrate the point about how limited. I can't give you the team from 23-24. We've got great. The chat is getting there. Love it. Let's Neil Cooper Mills wrong. 80 right with Burley. Ipswich Town old boy got some correct in there. Nice. Osman, yes. Yes. Yeah, Neil's done all right. He's gone for the double Dutch though, and not correct. Trevor, shout out to Trevor with Steve McCall. Love that. Alan Brazil Gates. Yeah, some good stuff here, Neil. Back in the form. We've given you, as I said, I thought I'd give something for the chat. I know that we've got some more tenured. Is that the nice way to put it? Town fans who love the pre-match show. Paul, I was 28, he says, Seb. There you go.
I presume we won with the names I've just mentioned. We
must 3-1. 3-1, nice and comfortable. Mike King mentioned David Barnes. So I don't know if you misheard, didn't hear me say that, but yeah. Give yourself a point anyway, Mike. There you go. So we dealt with history. Let's deal with the present and catch people up what has changed in terms of squad since we played them last. Seb, any meaningful January business?
No, not really. Obviously, they invested quite heavily in the summer. They've brought in 3 people, 2 loans and a free agent. Gustavo Nunez, a left winger, left forward, has arrived on loan from Brentford. Leo Walter, an attacking midfielder, has come in from Sirius in Sweden. And Joel Ward, formerly of Crystal Palace, was he the double deal? Him and somebody else with
Nugent.
Pompey that was.
I think
that wasn't Nugent. No, it was a defender. Ian Pearce, I want to say, maybe not.
Ian Pearce is like 90s West Ham.
Yeah, not him. No, I think it was A. Pearce. So there was a double deal at Portsmouth that never got done. Jason Pearce was it? Somebody put it in the chat.
I'm googling it.
Under Jewel, it wasn't it? Yeah, he's joined. I think for the rest of the season to add a bit of cover at right back. A couple of departures, nothing of any real note. Bobby Wales has gone on loan to Huddersfield to join Marcus Harness and Cam Humphreys. And Manuel Benson spent the first half of the season on loan from Burnley. Only started 1 game. He was recalled and has been shipped out elsewhere. So a little bit of squad kind of pruning, but nothing substantial, just to get them across the line and presumably they'll look to go again in the summer.
Jason Pearce is correct. We have scratched some nerdy itches tonight. We're going to continue.
Isn't it weird what the human brain can remember?
We're going to continue that nerdy theme by giving you the details on how Matos is going to line up his Swansea side. Seb, I'm going to give you the tactical pad. The stage is yours.
Please. Yeah, so we mentioned the Swansea way I referred to earlier. So if you remember the likes of Brendan Rodgers and Martinez, it's very much possession-based, kind of slower, methodical kind of football, I would suggest. And that's what Matos has kind of tried to continue. Sheehan obviously took it to the extreme in terms of completely nullifying their attacking threats, and it was kind of possession and passing for possession and passing's sake. Matos has tweaked a couple of things, so let me go through exactly what they've done. First off, he's reverted to a back 4. Now, Sheehan started the season with a 4-2-3-1 pretty religiously. They played Man City in the Cup a few weeks before us, went to a back 5, had a bit of joy with it, kept it in the game against us, but he's flipped that and gone straight back to a 4. Traditionally, it's a 4-2-3-1. They've used that the most this season, also used 4-1-4-1. But he did make a slight tweak to go to 4-3-3, as you can see on the screen, against Preston in midweek. The main threat, as you'll see, we'll discuss him shortly in a minute, is Jan Vopotnik, the league's top scorer, 16 goals, doesn't even take the penalties, doesn't do a great deal else, I would suggest. I might be doing a bit of a disservice there, but he's not the kind of player that kind of leads the press or anything. He's just a player that comes alive in the area and looks to get on the end of things. I mentioned it
on everyone.
I mentioned Ethan Galbraith playing out position at right back. Ben Cabango is a name a lot of people will know, obviously alongside Cameron Burgess. And Josh Timman, the left back / left wing back, is a threat. He's got 7 assists so far this season. Move it forward to the average player positions. You'll see, as I mentioned, Galbraith was shunted into midfield at half-time. That's why he kind of looks like he inverts from the full-back position. But there's clearly a definitive box there of the 2 defenders, Cabango and Burgess, and Fulton sitting just in front of them to provide that little bit of protection. I was surprised that Tiemann didn't get forward more in the average player positions. This is obviously the halfway point in terms of the average. So he's kind of halfway in their halfway in the rear. But with 7 assists so far this season, I thought he would push up more. The big, obviously, one to look at is Ji Sung there, the left winger, almost goes into a front 2 with Vopotnik and is actually the most furthest forward player in that system. So kind of the defending is left to the central midfielders and the 2 centre-backs. The full-backs do push on, but it's the left-hand side attacker that really looks to get in and around Vopotnik to make things happen. Move it forward again to the heat maps, where they touch the ball most. I've already mentioned Fulton. He pretty much sits on that centre circle to provide the cover for the back 2. I've mentioned Galbraith coming inside. Vopotnik there again, you'll notice, is slightly withdrawn. Ji Sung is the player furthest forward. Ronald down the right-hand side. I remember him sort of being a threat in the Swansea away game in the rain in the promotion season where Broadhead scored the goal. I think he was a bit of a nuisance for Leif Davis that day, but he was subbed at half-time, I think, against Preston on Tuesday night. So a question mark if he will feature or not. But yeah, it looks very much like Vopotnik is kind of the one that kind of holds the ball up maybe and looks to get the runners in and around him. But when he's in the box, it's all set up to provide the service to him. They will look to cross to him and they will look to get him involved, and he comes alive in the penalty area. They are still, as I mentioned, very much slow and methodical in terms of their build-up. They're the slowest in the league for getting the ball forward from front to back. They are 3rd highest for short passes per game. They are 3rd highest for passing sequence time, and they are 4th highest for sequences containing more than 10 passes. So it's very patient build-up play before they look to kind of, hit teams with Vopotnik coming alive in the 6-yard area. 3rd fewest for direct attacks at all. They're not a side that really looks to go long. One thing he has tweaked, though, is the press. I looked back at the script back in November, and they were kind of lower mid-table for pressing intensity. He's moved that now. They're now top 3rd for pressing intensity, so they will look to kind of press as a side a lot more than they did back in the November game. And as a result of the increased press, they're 6th for high turnovers, 1, and 9th for high turnovers resulting in shots. They do like to shoot from range. 42% of their shots come from outside the box, which is the 3rd highest in the division, but they're not very good at it. They've only scored 7 from 178 efforts from outside the area. So, yeah, slow and methodical, patient build-up play. It's very much set up to get Vopotnik on the end of things in the box, and in the box, he doesn't really come alive. He doesn't do much else in the game, I would suggest, but when he's in the box, he will come alive.
And it did look, the defensive shape on those kind of the run-throughs, the tactical run-throughs there look quite narrow in their defensive setup too. So I guess opportunity for us to spring in Clark and Burns or whoever down the right-hand side. So I'd say keep a lookout for that. It's always going to be where our threat comes from. I think defending narrowly against us, and I guess if they're better at pressing, it helps, but nevertheless, that will be where our threat is. It's interesting to see how they cope with that, especially if Davis comes back in. We'll debate that later on. And if Furlong can get up and support, and Nunes going to kind of drop out and take a wide position with Mehmeti. So yeah, it does bode well. Do you want to go through the kind of key threats? We have talked about Vopotnik. Do you want to give his numbers?
Yeah, 16 goals, 2 assists in 32 appearances, doesn't take penalties, so that's all from kind of open play, such to goals. Top scorer in the division. I guess there's questions around the sustainability of this. His XG, hello XG fans again, a lot of XG fans tonight, is only just over 7, so I guess there is a question about is he a bit of a one-season wonder? Maybe, I guess we'll find out. He's also missed 9 big chances as well. I see you shaking your head because I'm doing him down because he's going to score at the weekend now, isn't he? Strong, anytime. Aggressive in the air as well. I mentioned Josh Timman, 7 assists from left back. Ethan Galbraith, I do like, central midfielder. He was replaced by Josh Key, I think, at half-time in the Preston game, so expect him to come back into central midfield. 73 touches per game, 81% passing accuracy, 7th in the league for completed final third passes, and 2nd highest for distance covered in carries. So, yeah, a good player. I like Ethan Galbraith. Yep. Cam Burgess, we have to reference him, obviously, has played every minute of every game so far this season. The only player in the league to do so Second for clearances this season in the division with 286. Seventh with blocks. Another couple of own goals would be lovely, Cameron, if you don't mind, on Saturday. Please, I'm sure he'll get a great reception from the Town fans, obviously. And Lawrence Figueroa, the keeper, is the busiest keeper in the league. He saved 108 efforts, which is the most out of any goalkeeper in the division. 10 clean sheets, +2 in the goals prevented stats, with a 73% save rate. So he's a very busy keeper, but he has kept 10 clean sheets, which is pretty decent.
Likes a camera save. The Preston one was from Osmarch was a good save, but looked very flashy at the same time. And as much as Burgess, I think all of us observed the feedback, shall we say, from the Swansea fan base after the game against us. To have played every minute of the season is testament to him and his professionalism, isn't it? And not too high with the high, too low with the lows, just consistent. And you will get a good reception on Saturday. Any notable absentees? Adam Ida's probably the one that jumps out for me, Seb.
Yeah, 3 players out. Zadine Anusa's got a back problem. Adam Ida signed from Celtic, £6 million, I want to say. No, maybe that was what Norwich sold him for. I can't remember. But Adam Ida, kind of the backup striker to Vipotnik, is out with a hamstring. And Ricardo Santos, the Mountain from Bolton away a few years ago, has had a hip problem, hasn't featured for the last few months. So those 3 are likely to be missing.
Nice one. Thank you, Seb, for talking us through Swansea. We're about to talk through Ipswich after this.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to Atwells for their support of the podcast this season and our pre-match show partners, One Stop Badges 2. You can find out more about both in the link in the description, and the link for One Stop Badges also comes with a promo. So if you're after keepsakes for your business, your podcast of whatever, One Stop Badges is the place to go. Bits and pieces here on Blue Monday. Busy time with 3-game weeks, etc. We are back with the weekend preview on Top Tier tomorrow, looking at the championship program in a bit more detail. Flagship Sunday night with Ben, Dave, and Joe, the 3 wise men, looking back on Swansea after the fact. And then we'll figure out bits and pieces in terms of reacting to Hull, but then usual routine. I think we're going to be a little bit later here on pre-match for Leicester next week. It will be Thursday, 8:30. We think is going to be the start time, which is down to me and racing back down the A14. So we were going to pre-record, but I think we like going live, don't we, Seb? So bear with us if we're a bit tardy next week. But we'll try and put all the details of all the shows we've got coming out. Beyond the Scoreline will return. It might be that they merge the Saturday and the Tuesday game together and go live on Wednesday. So bear with us. We'll let you know what's going on, but plenty happening. The best way to know what is happening is to subscribe, certainly on YouTube. And if you're out there on podcast land too, we appreciate your 5-star rating and a review. Very much appreciated from you guys out there. But subscribe and podcasts will just magically land and hopefully fill your lives with joy. So where do we go from Watford back home, Seb? A few debates around certain positions, either because of players rested, aka Leif Davis, players who came in and got their first starts, maybe to stake a claim, but whether they can then sustain that for another game, aka Dan Neil, aka Marcelino Nunez. Where do you want to start here? Shall we start from the
back, shall we? Yeah, I mean, the 3 of the back 4 picks itself. I guess the question is Davis, isn't it? If Davis is fit, I think he probably comes straight back in. I thought Greaves did really well. The Kipre-Greaves debate of who would play at centre-half after the couple of Wrexham games was kind of a test, but we saw him start eventually, but in the wrong position. So he'll keep his place if Davis doesn't make it. Did McKenna confirm he had a knock, I think, after the Wrexham game, didn't he? So I guess he has to be a doubt. So we'll see if he can make it. Other than that, it'll be Furlong, 1 booking away now from a 2-match suspension. Can he be as disciplined as Matasiwa? I would suggest not. Obviously, O'Shea in the centre, Walton in goal. I think Dan Neil has to start alongside Matasiwa. Obviously, he started the Wrexham Cup game, didn't he? And then got about 20 minutes in the league game, was it? I think so. Played 70 odd minutes, was it, against Watford in midweek? So he's kind of looking to get minutes into his legs. I think he might have a bit of a Massimo Luongo effect. I think he'll make that position his now. I'd love to see him start again alongside Matasiwa if he's good to do it. I think Burns probably comes back in for Egley. I know Egley scored, but didn't really do that much else. And Wes Burns has got that position down to a fine T, hasn't he? And if he'd been able to do 3 games in a week, he would have done it, but he couldn't. So I expect him to come back in on the right. And then I really hope Nunez can make it again. I know it's a big ask. He's been out for, was it 5 weeks? He was out for 5.5 weeks, maybe. But we're such a good side when he's in that number 10 position. It's harsh on Mehmeti, who's done well. But if Nunez can do it and give us an hour, then hopefully he's the one that would get the nod. And then I think he might go for George Hurst up front. I think that it's very rare the same striker plays 3 games in a week. Azon started away at Wrexham in the league, scored, did well, started against Watford on Tuesday night, obviously missed the chance that he blazed over, but his hold-up play was half decent. I just think George Hurst will come in. He got his goal. I think he might come in, and McKenna might hopefully look him to play himself back into form, and he's got a bit of a confidence boost off of that Watford goal. So I know it's Hull on Tuesday night, so it's a quick turnaround time. Then you've got Leicester at home the following Saturday. So Nunez certainly wouldn't be starting those 3. I just always feel, get 3 points on the board in the first game of a 3-game week to kind of inspire a bit of confidence. So that's what I would like to see as my starting 11. What do you disagree with? What do you agree with?
I don't think I disagree with much of that at all, actually. I think if the rest for Davis worked like I'm sure McKenna and the kind of medical team hope for, it is rare that he doesn't come in, but maybe they are managing a situation there, and with 3 games coming up, and Greaves doing fine, got an assist, didn't he? Marauded up there and smashed the ball at George Hurst's chest, so did the job there. And yeah, we talked about the aerial threat that Swansea posed, certainly Vipotnik. So that, I kind of see the logic in Greaves keeping his place. I think I agree with you. I think Dan Neil, now he's got in the team, it's going to be difficult to get rid of him if I'm Jack Taylor or Jens Kajusta. So I think I agree with that. I also agree if Burns is ready to go again and start, that you would have him, not least because of what it appeared to be quite a narrow defensive line, a defensive system from Swansea. And that, I think that creates opportunities for Clark and Burns to run at them. So I like that. I don't know whether you get much. I think the chat has kind of talked about Nunez being the man. I think it's where is it? Yeah, streaky. Nunez passing his skills takes us up several levels. I guess starting with Mehmeti isn't much of a drop off, though, is it, Seb? I think it's
just different, isn't it? Because Nunez will drop deep to find space and get on the ball. Mehmeti will do things a lot closer to the opposition goal, won't he? So I guess I just think when Nunez plays, his vision, his passing is always so positive. He's such a clever player who kind of really makes us tick. And I really like Mehmeti, but I couldn't see Nunez starting 2 out of the 3 games. Starting the 2 games in quick succession. So okay. I'm assuming he would be dropped out and rested for Hull, where Mehmeti might well come in, and that game might be a bit of a shootout, I would perhaps suggest. So yeah, I think that's just the way I would do it, because when Nunez, the stats were going around our Telegram group, when Nunez plays, isn't it like our points per game is way, way higher than if he doesn't start. So it's clear he makes such a big difference to us. Big cult hero as well, obviously, in Portman Road. So yeah, I just think get the week off to the best start possible. And for me, that involves Nunez playing in the 10.
Fine. I can't disagree with that. I guess that's a choice that purely on the grounds of fitness and planning ahead a little bit. The strikers, Seb, honestly, at this point, I think you could, I was going to say toss a coin, but you can't. You need a 3-sided coin, but you know what I mean? I do think it's much of a muchness at the moment. I do think I quite like the idea. I think I'm trying to find who posted it in the chat. Was it Joe? Talked about Akpom. Yeah, can we give Akpom a run in the 9? I'm just trying to figure out who's the one that plays at home. I'm not
He's
sure.
not getting minutes in the 9, though, is he? He came on at Wrexham in the 10.
He came on the left-hand side,
off the bench
didn't he?
at all against Watford. So I know you're saying you can't choose between them, but I think Hurst and Azon are certainly ahead of him in the pecking order.
I fancy Hurst against Burgess more than Azon versus Burgess.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I guess going Hurst. And every week we're going to bemoan until one of these players goes on a run why we didn't recruit another striker in January. So I guess you reward Hurst for his goal, albeit he absolutely smashed one into the back of the stand when it was should have been pretty straightforward to get on target. Azon did exactly the same. I just think Akpom to me is a bit more of a cultured finisher, but difficult choice. Let us know what you think in the chat. I'll click through a few of them. We've got plenty of thoughts, and we'll finish with your predictions too. We've got the usual question about yellow cards. Thank you to Philip, who I think has answered that one. What have we got? Wes Burns done so well since he returned. Please, Prim says Paul. Yeah, one of those ones where
incredible, a great story for a properly good bloke.
Spent nearly 30 million quid on replacing him, and then
a lot of people were debating, wouldn't he, thinking that he'd probably be loaned out with his contract up in the summer. We wouldn't necessarily see him, but I mean, scoring away at Coventry so early in his comeback was a huge moment, and it's slotted back in effortlessly, isn't he? He doesn't look like he's lost that much pace. Or the kind of injury he has, you always worry about a player that's kind of dependent on that explosive pace. But he's been knocking it past players like it's the Wes Burns of 2 or 3 years ago, and he knows the system so well. And I wouldn't be that surprised if we offered him another 1-year deal in the coming weeks, to be honest, because he's one of those heroes who knows what he has to do so well, and he makes such a difference to the way we play. And all that's missing from him now is a goal at Portman Road, and the roof will come off if it's one of his meaningful goals. We called him Big Game Burns for so many years in the League One and the Championship promotion season with Derby at home. Whenever we needed a big moment, it felt like Burns was the one who would kind of turn up, and hopefully he can recreate some of those moments in the run-in.
Indeed. Yeah, a lot of people liking your team though, Seb. Trevor saying if fit, Davis will be back, which kind of
if he's fit, I agree. Yeah, I put Greaves on the graphic just because I assume Davis wouldn't be fit. But if he's fit, he comes in, and I think Greaves drops to the bench. What's your take on the Kipre-Greaves situation? Kipre below par for the last few games, got a yellow card with an agricultural challenge, shall we say, against Watford on Tuesday night. What's your take on those two at the moment? Who do you think should be starting in that left-sided centre-back berth?
I just don't know. I think sometimes you need a bit of a wake-up call. You've gone from Wrexham conceding 5 to a clean sheet. I know it wasn't exactly, watertight defending. We did let quite a few crosses in. Walton had to make some saves, not least obviously from the penalty. But I do wonder whether that might be the kick up the arse that both O'Shea and Kipre needed. It lacks pace, of course, but it's been solid. And as I say, some, people, I don't know what it is, maybe it's just Wrexham that's bad for us. I think we looked a little bit better, and I don't think I've got a problem with any of those. I do think Greaves has been really unfortunate. So actually, if Davis isn't 100%, I don't think anyone would begrudge Greaves keeping his place on the left side of defence. And the fact is that he's now the number 2 option there rather than Ben Johnson. So fair play to Greaves. It's just a shame that, he's found himself down the pecking order, isn't he? But a lot of love for your lineup, Seb. Metty off the bench says Ipswich Town, old boy. Neil mentions Clark to rest. He looks knackered. I just don't know. We've got a question from Anthony about Philogene close to returning. It sounds like there's a situation that the club are monitoring day to day, I think McKenna said. I don't see, unless Mehmeti can slide over there, or
he can. That's what you'd have to do. Yeah, you'd have to. I don't. Akpom came on in that position against Derby and did okay, but did he start? He started the Wrexham FA Cup game in the left-hand channel. No one came out of that game with any credit. It didn't work at all. But no, it didn't suit for me. I think the most logical thing to do is to slide Mehmeti across slightly, because the Jack Clark and Jayden Philogene will cut in so much. It's a narrow 10 position, isn't it? So I think he could do that fine. And I guess he might be the relief option for Jack Clark at the hour mark, because Clark's playing an awful lot of minutes at the moment, so that's going to have to be managed. And as you say, Philogene is day by day, isn't he? So hopefully at some point in the not too distant future, we'll get him back on the bench, and those minutes can start to be shared between the two. But Mehmeti might have to kind of, for the next few weeks, cover both the 10 and the wide left, also the left 10 position at the same time.
A lot of chat about putting out the strongest possible team, putting pressure on Borough. That's Rob's point. for Monday, which is fair enough. I guess we'll see how McKenna sees that. And I think it's a cliche, but Luke Chambers has talked about this, I'm sure, or at least Ben has quoted Luke Chambers, and so I'll attribute it to one of them too. But at this point, the team is fit, isn't it? And, you know, I know that we've got a few injury situations, but going again on Tuesday, now we're in basically March, shouldn't be too much to ask of anyone in 2026. The fitness, the recovery, the pitches, all of the excuses kind of why you need to do rotation are kind of gone. So it'll be good to see strong teams, but there will be some rotation, of course, Tuesday. But yeah, it seems like everyone wants Nunez, Toffee Crisp here, Tess. Nunez makes everything tick. I see that, or everything feel, but I'm going to go with tick, Tess. But yeah, a lot of love for Nunez. Do you want to give me your thoughts on predictions then, Seb?
Obviously, Vopotnik will now score because I suggested he didn't do much other than score goals. So I'm going to go Ipswich Town 3, Swansea 1. I think it'll be great to be back at Portman Road. Their away form, as I've said, is pretty atrocious, let's be honest. And I just think we will look and take full advantage this week with Borough playing away at Birmingham on Monday night, isn't it? I think it is. It's a chance for us to go and put real pressure on them because we'll close the gap. And then obviously we play again on the Tuesday night. So it's a big week. It's 3 big home games. Hopefully it's a minimum of 7. If we get 9 points by kind of 5 p.m. on next Saturday, then we are set up lovely for the run-in. So yeah, I will go for Ipswich Town 3, Swansea 1, Vopotnik to score because I curse him. I'm going to go for George Hurst to score as well. Get 2 goals in 2 games.
Wow, nice. There you go. Joe Fair's levels of optimism here on the pre-match show. I'm going to try and navigate predictions. Some people went early. We've got a 2-1 from AD. Hurst to score first. There you go. You're bang up with that one. AD knows the score. He was papped on Sky again. Always see AD in the away ends. Good to see you again, AD, and in the chat and following from the town up or down, home and away. Everyone always there, AD. So great to see you with us tonight. 4-1 says Neil. Wow. But need an early goal
of the November game.
Yeah, early goal would be great. 3-1 for Rob up at Town. He says, we've got, good bit of confidence, just padding as I scroll through everyone talking about Kip, Ray and Greaves and O'Shea. You've opened a bit of a can of worms there, Seb. 3-1 for Philip, 3-0 for Toffee Crisp. Enjoy Burgess Hatcher. Come on, Toffee Crisp. Enjoy. Be nice. Rob's going for a 2-0 Hurst and Nunez free kick. Came close, didn't he, Seb? That shot in the second half, should he got that on target? Or
I think
it's quite swazzy, wasn't it, though? He hit it hard.
I think he should have got that on target. It opened up for him, didn't it? And there were a few times. There was that one. There was the Azon one that was kind of blazed over. Hurst, obviously, when he banks it 2-0, fires that one over. There were a couple of chances that perhaps should have potentially done better. And I think he should have hit the target. I hate to criticize him because I love Marcel and Nunez, but on that occasion, I think he should have hit the target, yeah.
I miss Michael's 2-0 and more love for Cam Burgess. Their own goal and assist from Cam Burgess. Blimey, come on, poor guys. 3-0 for Colin, always positive, Colin. And Manners going for a 3-1, as is Trevor. So a lot of, Shane, 3-1, Streaky 4-0, Nunez brace. Blimey, you guys were worried about Swansea's away form and along came Ipswich earlier. And now all the predictions are looking very positive. Lee going for a 3-0. Nigel with 2-0, Seeger 87, 2-1, Burns and Hurst, old school. I love the sound of that one. I think we'll leave it there with the predictions on that one. I don't think we're going to top Seeger 87's choice there. Thank you, everyone who has got involved in the live chat. I'm trying to find some questions to lob at Seb because we're done a bit early. I did find one earlier, actually. Nigel says, if the rumours are right, 3 to 4 million for Kip Ray will be another steal. What do you think about that one? You've kind of just slagged him off, haven't you, Seb?
Yeah, brilliant. I slagged him off, yeah. I think it's an agreed deal, isn't it? If we go up, it's 4 million quid. There was a report, wasn't there, from African News, was it earlier on this week, that potentially we're looking to get it done earlier. Makes sense. What is he, 29, 30 years old, very experienced. He's probably got the physicality you want at the Premier League level. I'm not saying he would be a week in, week out starter, but for that kind of money, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer if you can get it done. Obviously, he'll be very happy here. He's got a lot of experience playing at the Championship. So, yeah, if it's 4 million quid on promotion or we just look to do it slightly earlier, yeah, I can't see why we wouldn't, and he could become a useful squad player next year. I'm not saying he'll start, but a useful squad player.
Daniel here has kind of done some of our work for us on Hull. Swansea much tougher under new boss. I think we'll win 3-2. Hull, though, far tougher. 7 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses in the last 8 away games, he says. If that is true, then we need to, definitely watch ourselves. But along come Ipswich works. We're doing the kind of pulling a moniker, isn't it, in Friends? We're going to turn that phrase around and make it positive. And along come Ipswich, and Hull's impressive away record comes to an end, and Swansea stays where it is. I'm literally just finding the narrative that suits our blue tinted spectacle views. Michael, is this a sliding doors week? He asks Seb.
We might well look back, hopefully, in May when we're doing the end of season promotion party podcast and say, do you remember Wrexham away? That was crap. But who'd have thought we'd have, done another 15 wins out of the last, whatever it is, 16 games, whatever.
To that point, is Wrexham the Bristol Rovers?
City. Bristol Rovers, sorry. Yeah, it could well be. Yeah, the moment we had to reset, we followed up nicely. I'm really glad we played on Tuesday night. If there hadn't been that Watford game and we were going into this weekend, I think we'd be in kind of not so much nervous because Swansea aren't very good away, but beating Watford makes everything so much easier and eases a little bit of the pressure, doesn't it? So, yeah, we could well look back and think that week we took those 9 points and then followed it up with Stoke and then obviously Sheffield Wednesday and then Millwall. That could, these could be a really big cluster of games before the international break. And as I said earlier, if we can get 6 wins from, we've got 1 at Watford up until the international break, then, that will be a real strong position to go into April in.
And of course, the realists out there, Seb, will say the answer to that question is, we'll tell you in a week's time, Michael. So that's the actual proper answer. I want to give AD his full title here too. AD Croucher, Stowmarket legend. Do you think Millwall are now a threat? I mean, fair play. Millwall, Hull, even Wrexham, Preston, Derby. There is the chasing pack extends quite far down the table, but everyone seems to be really consistent. And I'm like, where's the drop off for these teams? You kind of feel like we've been stop-starty, and postponements and rearrangements haven't helped in that respect. But they keep getting the results. I know Birmingham had a man sent off, but I think the damage was done. It was a pretty impressive result against Birmingham City for Millwall. Are they a threat, Seb?
Very much so. At one point, it looked like kind of 6th would drop away, and it would kind of be 3 out of the 4 of the ones we just mentioned, kind of fighting out for those top 3 playoff positions. But Wrexham have closed the gap. They're only a couple of points behind now, I think. So Millwall are very much a threat. That's why Sky have chosen it for a 12:30 kickoff in 3 weeks' time. That's going to be another big game, the final one before the international break, and I think we're going to have to win that one to try and keep them at bay. And Hull as well, joint level on points. I know we've got the games in hand, but Hull 57 points aren't going away either. So I guess it's different, isn't it? Because 2 years ago, everyone was just winning every single week, weren't they? Leeds and Southampton and Leicester and us just won, and it was rare that any side dropped points. This season, anyone, Coventry less so now, but Borough, Hull can have a brain fart at home. Millwall can have a brain fart at home to Pompey like they did last week. We can have a brain fart away to Wrexham. Anybody can kind of drop points this season. And I guess that's making it slightly more interesting, if not as comfortable as perhaps some of us would like it to be.
Final question of the night is our mate Streaky, another of the frequent, not a flyer, but away day VIPs, our mate Streaky. We saw him at the Hill Dickinson. He said, did either of you buy one of the £6.50 donuts? We didn't, but I would say, what is the lowest value for money? And that can be something that was expensive that was really tasty, or something that, the complete opposite. What's the lowest value you've had for your away day trips to a major stadium? I think I know I've got an answer if you want me to go for it, but I'll see if you've got the same one.
Mine was the Hill Dickinson because I bought us 2 beers. Oh, yes, it was Budweiser, which we both hate, but I think it was the only beer they had, and it was something like 13 or 14 quid, I think. So same stadium, slightly different variation.
I'll chuck in another stadium of similar modern vintage when you order Beavertown beer and you get Heineken, and not only do you observe to them, you've given me Heineken, not Beavertown, return it, and they do exactly the same thing. Spurs Stadium, brilliant, but hang your heads in shame, gentlemen. So there you go. I think we'll leave it there. We've got to 59 minutes. Thank you everyone in the chat. Really great numbers as always. Lovely to see you a little bit later for us this time next week. We'll be live at 8:30. Thank you to Seb for all of your research or insight, and please do share that with your friends, family, whoever, and pass that knowledge off as your own. Do join the guys on the flagship show on Sunday. And please, before you disappear, a thumbs up, a subscribe, or a 5-star rating on your podcast app of choice. Really, very much appreciated. I think I need to say goodbye right at the end, or do our sign off. So I will let you say some final goodbyes as well. You'll be there, Seb, won't you? Will you have badges?
Can't wait. Really looking forward to it. I've got no badges. No, my last time game, I think it was Blackburn, which feels like an absolute eternity ago now. So really looking forward to getting back to Portman Road. It's a massive week. These 3 games, they could be season defining. So let's make sure we sing loud from the stands and get them across the line. Start the week as positive as possible. Get 3 points on the board. Put a bit of pressure on Borough going to St Andrews on Monday night, and then look and see how the land lies at 5 p.m. next weekend against Leicester. See you next week for the Leicester pre-match, and take us out, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for the kind words. And I've got nothing more to say, so I'll just say, come on, you Blues!